As you all know now, early this morning, Brian Cole Jr. was arrested and charged with placing the pipe bombs at the RNC and the DNC on January 5th, 2021. He has been charged with violating 18 U.S.C. 844, which is use of an explosive device. This investigation is ongoing. As we speak, search warrants are being executed, and there could be more charges to come. I'm going to let our U.S. Attorney discuss that shortly.
Okay, so this is huge. And I mean, this is absolutely massive. The DOJ just arrested a guy named Brian J. Cole Jr. He's 30 years old, from Virginia, and he's been charged with planting pipe bombs outside both the Democratic National Committee headquarters and the Republican National Committee headquarters on January 5th, 2021. That's right, January 5th, one day before the Capitol riot, one day before January 6th. And this arrest is blowing open a whole investigation that everyone thought was basically dead. Everyone thought it was a cold case. Everyone thought we'd never find out who did this. And then boom, suddenly 4 years later, the FBI cracks it open. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest, you can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built Pump Politics, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, join our free newsletter. We'll send the news straight to your inbox every day. Just click the link in the description to join. And if you just want to support what we're doing, join us, be part of the community that actually cares about the truth. All right, let's get back to the video. Here's what's wild. The evidence is damning. We're talking about cell phone pings placing Cole near both the DNC and RNC headquarters on January 5th. We're talking about purchase records showing he bought pipes, timers, and batteries between 2019 and 2020. We're talking about a Nissan Rogue spotted near the bomb locations that matches his vehicle. This isn't circumstantial stuff. This is solid evidence. This is the kind of evidence that puts someone in prison for a long time. And Attorney General Bondi and FBI Director Patel are both touting this as a major breakthrough. They're saying this cold case got solved because of Trump's priority on these investigations. They're using it as a win. But here's where it gets really interesting. Sources are revealing that Brian Cole believed in 2020 election conspiracy theories. He believed the election was stolen. He believed Trump's lies about the election. He believed the narrative that was being pushed by Trump and his supporters, that the election was rigged, that it was fraudulent, that it wasn't legitimate, and that belief is what fueled him to plant these bombs. That's the connection. That's what they're pointing out. The election conspiracy theories that Trump was promoting, they motivated this guy to commit violence. They motivated him to plant explosives outside political party headquarters. And here's the thing that's really causing a stir. There's no public direct connection between Cole and Trump. There's no evidence that Trump told Cole to plant bombs. There's no evidence that Trump was involved in the actual bombing plot. But the speculation is swirling anyway because it's obvious that the election lies. The false claims about the election being stolen, those came from Trump. Those were pushed by Trump. Those were amplified by Trump's supporters and Trump's media ecosystem. And those lies created an environment where someone like Brian Cole felt justified in committing an act of violence. So we've got this situation where Attorney General Bondi and FBI Director Patel are trying to spin this as a success for the Trump administration. They're saying, look, we solved this cold case. We used Trump's priorities and Trump's resources to crack this investigation. We're doing a great job. But at the same time, the actual facts of the case show that election conspiracy theories that came from Trump, motivated someone to plant pipe bombs. So it's both a win for Trump's law enforcement team and a potential indictment of Trump's election lies. It's complicated, it's messy, it's got a lot of layers. And the timing is absolutely insane. This arrest comes right as Trump is handing out pardons to January 6th rioters. He's pardoning the people who stormed the Capitol. He's pardoning people who attacked police officers. He's pardoning people who assaulted federal law enforcement. But he hasn't pardoned Brian Cole. Cole hasn't been pardoned. Cole is facing serious federal charges. Cole is looking at prison time. And the contrast between those pardons and this prosecution is raising all kinds of questions about selective justice. Is Trump only protecting people he likes? Is he only defending people who are loyal to him? Is he leaving other January 6th related defendants out to dry? And here's another thing that's blowing people's minds. This pipe bomb case has been sitting there unsolved for 4 years. 4 years. January 6th was in 2021. We're now in 2025. 4 years with no arrests. 4 years with no breakthrough. And then suddenly, right now in December 2025, the FBI cracks it open. They reassess old evidence. They go back to phone records they already had. They go back to purchase records they already had. They piece it together and they get an arrest. So the question is, why now? Why did it take 4 years? Why didn't this happen during the first Trump administration when he was president? Why is it happening now during his second term when his administration is supposedly focused on solving this. The FBI is saying they used the $500,000 reward that was standing for years. They say they got new tips. They say they reassess evidence, but the timing is weird. The timing is suspicious because right now, Trump is at 36% approval. The economy is tanking. The shutdown is dragging on. The tariffs are causing chaos. And suddenly, here comes this news about the pipe bomb suspect being arrested. Here comes news about election conspiracy theories, motivating violence. Here comes news that ties back to January 6th and Trump's role in spreading election lies. It's convenient timing. It's politically convenient timing. And that's raising all kinds of questions about what's going on. Is the FBI using this arrest to try to rehabilitate its image after the approval rating collapse? Is the Trump administration trying to show that they're serious about January 6 prosecutions? Is there something else going on here that we're not seeing? Because on the surface, this looks like a great thing. A criminal gets caught, justice is served. But when you dig deeper, it's much more complicated. It's entangled with all kinds of political implications and questions about how the Trump administration is handling January 6 related prosecutions. So that's what's happening. That's what's blowing open right now. The arrest of Brian Cole is raising massive questions about election lies, about violence, about Trump's role in spreading conspiracy theories, and about why this arrest is happening now at this exact moment in time when Trump is dealing with so many other political problems. This is a story with lots of layers. This is a story that's going to have real consequences.
I am pleased to inform you that law enforcement has apprehended the suspect and taken him into custody. It's an incredible job by law enforcement. We've carried out a far-reaching federal, state, and local investigation to find the person or persons responsible for these events. These terrorizing acts are despicable and have no place in our country. No place. I've instructed.
Okay, so let's dig into this case and understand what's actually going on, because there's a lot more here than just a simple arrest for planting bombs. This is a case that tells us something important about how election conspiracy theories translate into actual violence. This is a case that shows the connection between political lies and terrorist activity. This is a case that's raising serious questions about the Trump administration's approach to January 6th investigations and prosecutions. Let's start with Brian Cole and what we know about him. He's 30 years old, he's from Virginia, and according to sources, he had anarchist leanings. He believed in anti-government ideology. He wasn't some mainstream conservative. He wasn't some typical Trump supporter. He was someone who had extremist beliefs. He was someone who was radicalized. And he was someone who believed that the 2020 election was stolen. Now, that's the key connection here. Cole believed the election was fraudulent. Cole believed the election results weren't legitimate. Cole believed that Trump won and Biden stole the election. Those aren't beliefs he came up with on his own. Those are beliefs that were pushed by Trump. Those are beliefs that were amplified by Trump's campaign. Those are beliefs that were repeated over and over again by Trump and his supporters for months and months after the election. Trump said the election was rigged. Trump said it was stolen. Trump said it was fraudulent. Trump said it was fraudulent. And people like Brian Cole believed him. So Cole decided to take action. He decided to plant pipe bombs outside the Democratic National Committee and the Republican National Committee on January 5th, 2021, the day before the Capitol riot. That's not a coincidence. That's not random timing. That's deliberate. That's strategic. Cole is trying to send a message. Cole is trying to do something dramatic on the eve of the Capitol riot. Now the evidence against Cole is solid. The cell phone records place him near both bomb sites on January 5th. The purchase records show he bought the materials needed to make bombs, pipes, timers, batteries, and witnesses spotted a Nissan Rogue matching his vehicle near the bomb locations. This isn't a case where there's any doubt about whether Cole did it. This is a case where the evidence is overwhelming. Cole did this. Cole planted the bombs. Cole committed a serious federal crime, but the bombs didn't detonate. They were found on January 6th afternoon, hours after they were placed. The bombs didn't go off. The bombs didn't hurt anyone. And that's the only reason Cole's case isn't even more serious than it already is. If those bombs had detonated, if people had been killed, this would be a terrorism case with fatalities. But because the bombs were discovered before they went off, it's a case of attempted violence, attempted destruction, attempted bombing. It's still serious. It's still federal prison serious. But it's not a mass casualty event. Now here's where the political implications get really interesting. The investigation into these pipe bombs has been going on for 4 years. 4 years. The pipes were discovered on January 6th, 2021, and it took 4 years to arrest someone. 4 years of investigations. 4 years of leads. 4 years of dead ends. And then suddenly, in December 2025, the FBI cracks it open. They reassess old evidence. They go back through phone records. they connect the dots, and they get an arrest. So the question is, why now? Why didn't this happen earlier? Was the investigation moving slowly? Were there resource constraints? Or is there something else going on? Because the timing is interesting. The timing is politically interesting because Trump is at 36% approval right now. Trump's economy is tanking. Trump's shutdown is dragging on. Trump's approval is at a second-term low. And right now, at this exact moment, the FBI announces that they've solved a 4-year-old cold case. And that case involves election conspiracy theories. And that case involves violence motivated by Trump's lies. So it's either a massive coincidence in timing or someone in the Trump administration is using this arrest for political benefit. And I'm not saying the arrest isn't legitimate. I'm not saying Cole didn't do it. The evidence is there. Cole clearly planted the bombs. Cole clearly believed election conspiracy theories. Cole clearly took action based on those conspiracy theories. That's all documented. But the question of why this announcement is happening now, at this moment, is worth asking. And then there's the whole question of the pardons. Trump has been handing out pardons to January 6 rioters. He's been pardoning the people who stormed the Capitol. He's been pardoning people who assaulted police officers. He's been pardoning people who broke windows and trespassed. But Brian Cole hasn't been pardoned. Cole is facing serious federal charges. Cole is looking at real prison time. So why is Trump pardoning rioters but not Cole? Well, because Cole actually planted explosives. Cole actually committed a more serious crime than just trespassing or assaulting someone. Cole is facing real federal charges. But here's the thing. The rioters that Trump is pardoning, they were motivated by the same election conspiracy theories that motivated Cole. They were at the Capitol because they believed the election was stolen. They were there because they believed Trump's lies. They were there because of the same false narratives that got Cole to plant bombs. So in a weird way, Trump is pardoning the people who acted on his election lies while allowing someone who acted on those same lies to face prosecution. That's a contradiction. That's selective justice. And that's raising all kinds of questions about the Trump administration's approach to January 6th. Because on one hand, Trump is saying he wants to move past January 6th. He's saying he wants to heal the country. He's saying he wants unity. And he's using pardons to show that he's moving past it. But at the same time, the FBI is prosecuting people for crimes related to January 6th. The FBI is arresting people for pipe bombs related to January 6th. So which is it? Is Trump trying to move past January 6th, or is he trying to prosecute it? The answer is both. Trump wants to help his supporters get away with January 6th. That's why he's pardoning the rioters. But Trump also wants to appear tough on crime and terrorism. That's why he's using the pipe bomb arrest as a success story. So he's using the arrest for political benefit while simultaneously pardoning the people who were motivated by the same election lies that motivated Cole. It's a contradiction. It's selective justice. It's politically calculated. And then there's the bigger question about election conspiracy theories and how they translate into violence, because this case is a perfect example of that. Cole believed Trump's lies about the election. Those lies motivated him to commit violence. He tried to plant bombs outside political party headquarters. He was trying to send a message. He was trying to do something dramatic, all because he believed the election was stolen. And Trump knows this. Trump knows that his election lies motivated violence. Trump knows that his false claims about the election being rigged led to the Capitol riot on January 6th. Trump knows that people like Brian Cole believed his lies and acted on them. And yet Trump is still making election conspiracy theories a centerpiece of his political strategy. He's still claiming the 2024 election was rigged. He's still spreading false narratives about election fraud. He's still using election lies as a political tool, even though he knows or should know that those lies motivate violence. So Brian Cole's arrest is really about more than just arresting someone for planting bombs. It's about the connection between political lies and terrorist activity. It's about how false narratives about elections can radicalize people and push them toward violence. It's about accountability, or the lack thereof, when politicians spread those lies. And it's about Trump's selective approach to January 6th, where he pardons some people while allowing others to be prosecuted, depending on how useful they are to his political interests. All right, so let's break down what this pipe bomb arrest actually means and why it matters right now, because there are several layers to this story and several different ways to interpret what's happening. First point, this arrest confirms that election conspiracy theories motivated actual violence. That's not speculation anymore. That's not a theory. That's a fact. Brian Cole believed election conspiracy theories. Brian Cole believed the 2020 election was stolen, and Brian Cole planted pipe bombs as a result of those beliefs. That's a direct connection between lies and violence. That's a direct line from Trump's false claims about the election to someone committing a federal crime. And that's important because it proves something that a lot of people have been arguing since January 6th. It proves that the election lies weren't just harmless rhetoric. It proves that the false claims about election fraud weren't just political talk. It proves that those lies motivated actual people to commit actual crimes. Brian Cole is living proof of that connection, and his case is going to be used in court to establish that fact. Second point, the timing of this arrest raises serious questions about political motivation. 4 years with no arrests, 4 years of investigation, and then suddenly right now in December 2025, when Trump is dealing with a collapsed approval rating and a tanking economy, the FBI announces they've solved the Cole case. That's convenient timing. That's politically convenient timing. And it raises the question of whether someone in the Trump administration is using this arrest for political benefit. Now, I'm not saying the arrest isn't legitimate. I'm not saying Cole didn't do it. The evidence is there. But the question of timing is worth asking. Because if the FBI had the evidence 4 years ago, and they apparently did, then why is the announcement happening now? Why is this being publicized now? Why is Bondi and Patel taking credit for this now? Because it sure looks like someone in the Trump administration is trying to use this arrest to distract from other bad news. It sure looks like they're trying to change the subject away from the economic collapse and the approval rating crash. Third point, Trump's pardons of January 6 rioters create a contradiction when compared to the prosecution of Brian Cole, because the rioters were motivated by the same election conspiracy theories that motivated Cole. They were at the Capitol because they believed the election was stolen. They were there because they believed Trump's lies. So why is Trump pardoning them while allowing Cole to be prosecuted? Why are some people getting off while others face federal charges? The answer is simple. Trump is using pardons as a political tool. He's rewarding loyalty. He's helping people who are on his side on January 6th. He's trying to show his base that he's got their back. But at the same time, he's using the Cole arrest to show that he's tough on crime and tough on terrorism. He's trying to have it both ways. He's trying to help his supporters while also appearing tough on violence. And that's a contradiction. That's selective justice. That's politics. Fourth point, this case is going to become a major part of the midterm narrative. Democrats are already licking their chops over this. They're going to use this arrest in their 2026 campaign messaging. They're going to say, look, Trump's election lies motivated someone to plant bombs. They're going to say, look, Trump's false claims about election fraud led to violence. They're going to use Brian Cole as an example of what happens when politicians spread dangerous lies about elections. And that's going to be a powerful argument. Republicans are going to try to spin this differently. They're going to say, look, we solved the Cole case. We brought the criminal to justice. We're tough on crime. But that spin is going to be hard to sell when the actual crime was motivated by election conspiracy theories that Trump promoted. The facts are what they are. Cole believed Trump's lies. Cole acted on those lies. Cole planted bombs. That's the narrative that's going to dominate. Fifth point, this case exposes hypocrisy in how the Trump administration is handling January 6th, because Trump wants to move past January 6th. Trump wants people to stop talking about January 6th. Trump wants the country to move on. But at the same time, the Trump administration is prosecuting people for January 6th related crimes. The Trump administration is using a January 6th related arrest to tout their law enforcement success. So which is it? Is Trump moving past January 6th, or is he using it when it's politically convenient? The answer is obviously the latter. Trump uses January 6th when it benefits him. He uses it to show he's tough on crime. He uses it to distract from other bad news. But he also tries to suppress January 6th when it reflects badly on him or his supporters. He pardons January 6th rioters. He downplays what happened on January 6th. He tries to change the subject. That's selective use of the facts. That's politically calculated. Sixth point, and this is the biggest one. This case shows that Trump knows his election lies are dangerous. Trump knows that his false claims about election fraud motivated violence. Trump knows that people like Brian Cole believed his lies and acted on them. And yet Trump continues to push election conspiracy theories. Trump continues to claim elections are rigged. Trump continues to spread false narratives about fraud, even though he knows or should know that those lies lead to violence. That's reckless. That's irresponsible. That's dangerous. That's the kind of thing that used to disqualify someone from holding office. But in 2025, in Trump's second term, it's just politics as usual. Trump spreads lies. People believe him. People act on those lies. And Trump either pardons them if they're on his side or prosecutes them if they're not. It's all determined by politics, not principle. So that's what's happening with the Brian Cole arrest. That's what it means. That's why it matters right now. This isn't just about arresting a criminal. This is about the connection between election lies and violence. This is about selective justice. This is about Trump using law enforcement for political benefit. This is about the contradiction between Trump's claimed desire to move past January 6th and his continued spread of election conspiracy theories. And this case is going to haunt Trump. This case is going to be used against him in the midterms. This case is going to be evidence that his lies motivate violence. This case is going to be part of the narrative that Democrats use to argue that Trump is unfit for office. Because every time Democrats mention election lies, they're going to have Brian Cole and his pipe bombs as proof. They're going to have a real case with real evidence showing that Trump's false claims led to violence. That's the real impact of this arrest. That's what matters. That's what we're watching unfold right now. Stay tuned because this story is going to develop and is going to get messier as more details come out and as the political implications become clearer.